Welcome back. I have not done an episode of Scaling ScaleMate for a while. Had a lot going on, moving house. You can see, got a new setup. I am about to get a new background because who wants to look at a white wall? So I'm looking into various, fake walls and green screens and all this sort of stuff, but then the complexity comes with editing. So any suggestions, let me know. I'm looking on Amazon right now, hopefully get a Black Friday deal. So lots been happening. I've got like a month and a half of updates to go over. As always, start with the wins. So launched our product offering, which let me just go back and give you the background as to why. So we started as a services business, obviously. Now, the challenge with services business is it's very tough to scale. So while I've gone through periods of pretty quick growth, big revenue growth, all this sort of stuff, and more employees and things, it's a very tough business to scale, and every agency owner goes through this. All the clients want to work with you. You know the most about the business. You've started it. You have the most, skill level, I would say, in the service that you have built. So tough to replicate. You train, you become an enablement person, all this sort of stuff, which we did. We did pretty well, but I'm never satisfied. So ticket prices were high. Some people are often like, how do you even get those ticket prices at an agency style business? And I mean, super niche, like we only do B2B SaaS founders, very specifically AI, cybersecurity, fintech, privacy, legal technology, etc. But there's a lot that we don't do. So we're very, very niche, which means we can charge higher ticket. It's a good service. So understand the B2B SaaS world very, very well, which means big ticket prices, but tough to scale and hard to acquire clients fast enough to be able to grow and constantly have new projects coming in to then hire and support those clients. So challenges there with the services business. Great. Then we were like, one part of our service offering of GTM strategy, finding product market fit, testing hypothesis, figuring out demo process, discovery process, all this sort of stuff. One of the elements of that is lead generation. So I was like, you know what, let's see if clients want just lead generation, because we weren't just a lead generation provider previously. We were very, very niche, full sales cycle strategy stuff, kind of a consulting engagement with a bit of sales, like sprinkled in is how I used to phrase it. Then we went, well, do people just want lead gen? Obviously, there's lead gen companies out there. There's a million lead gen providers. It's a space full of cowboys, to be honest. Let's see. So I closed, 3 deals, started this year, 4 deals, I think, at decent ticket prices. Like any other agency would be pretty happy with those ticket prices. But it's half of what we used to get, maybe even less, actually, more like a third. So I was, it's okay, but we did close quicker. So I was like, is this the scalable thing to do? Turns out, yes, to an extent. There's probably some tweaks we could do there, but it still didn't feel quick enough. There's still not a wide enough TAM, a wide enough market to go after where most people can afford it. So one of the biggest criteria in our ICP that we excluded for a very, very long time was you have to have raised money. And typically, if we can get the data, like 500K plus. Our sweet spot was probably anywhere from $1 million plus, but 500K plus was fine. Now that cuts out a shit ton of founders, shit ton of B2B SaaS companies who are just starting out, bootstrap. Maybe they sold a company previously, so they do have money, or they've got savings, they sold a house, whatever it is. We were cutting out those people. Now, interestingly enough, those people, that founder profile, very easy to get meetings with. They're very exploratory, put it that way. They're kind of like, I need to grow a business. I don't really know how because I'm an engineer or I'm a tech guy, whatever it is, and I'll have a chat. So we could always get meetings with those people, but we didn't have anything to sell them really, because we were charging, quite high prices that people just simply can't afford, even if they wanted to. So that service offering went to lead generation, and lead generation has now been built into a platform. This is where it gets super interesting. So given we're a product play now, there's less deliverability, not email deliverability, but serviceability, I should say, in a project, and it's more self-service. So obviously the ticket price comes down because less services, not no services. Let me say that. The space is coined AISDR, right? I've told everyone we've launched it. I haven't had a chance to sort of say the success that we've had, but the space is AISDR. That's fake right now. Services is still required. I don't care what anyone says. Every single customer I talk to who have spoken or tried or trialed or paid for competition are not happy. I can go into the reasons of that. I think a lot of it comes down to service because it's not a product space yet. It's just not. It's just not there. So we're fortunate and we're coming from a services background, which means we've got a very good services arm, onboarding, ongoing support. That's not really support. It's more than that, but I'll say support. We're lucky that we're coming from that lens because it still requires quite a bit of services. So we've launched this product, and in 2 weeks we closed 6 trials, 2 of which have now converted, which is great, and more to come. Now, the unique nature of our trial is you do not pay until you book a qualified meeting. That's where the services come in. So we'll book the first one for you, right? It's on your calendar and it's qualified. Let me say qualified again. That's the important bit. And that's what, other companies don't spend a lot of time on. They just want meetings. They just want volume. Now, volume's important. Don't get me wrong. But qualified meeting is the key. So that's launched. We started that as a result of widening our TAM. Now, the funny thing about this is the product sale, the trial period, isn't just a trial for the customer, it's a trial for us. We get to see firsthand response rates, quality of founder, quality of product, quality of conversion, everything, right? Then it's a standard upsell into our services package. So it's actually become quite a good, not only lead generator for the subscription and product business, but basically an onboarding flow for our services business, which is great. So 6 customers, 2 weeks, 6 on trial, 2 converted to paid. Some more positives, closed $70,000 in ARR for one of our clients, which is great. We have gotten those into annual contracts. Been a long process as it is with startups, but $70,000 in net new ARR, which is a fantastic result. I love startup sales. I love it. Like you're not just a salesperson. You are the onboarding person. You're the POC manager. You're everything, contract negotiations, working with the founder, working with the customer. You're just everything. And I love it. That's why it's so fun. We have launched a marketing newsletter, goes out every month. I will put a link in the description so you can sign up to receive those. Basically, what's going on in the ScaleMate universe, GTM hacks, GTM tricks, latest case studies, results, blogs, all that sort of stuff goes out monthly. Really good to have a kind of warm ecosystem, warm flow to see what's going on. Things change all the time. So announcements are there, insider information. So I'll put a link in the description so you can subscribe to that newsletter. Since these changes, since the product stuff, we're booking about 40 to 50 qualified meetings per month, which is very, very solid. I'll go into conversions probably on the next update here, but conversions are pretty strong. I'm actually quite happy with just the nature of the numbers. Couple tweaks on ICP. Again, I'll go into that in a little bit more depth on another episode. And then final thing on the positive side, inbound is starting to happen for us. Now, we've had some inbound and it's sprinkled in with people that I already know from a previous life, people that my employees know, but inbound's starting to come a little bit more frequently. So that's good. The ScalingMate.ai website and the new website for ScaleMate, the services business versus the product business, Both now have good call to actions, very obvious, direct to my calendar. I want to make it as easy as possible to book a meeting with me and the team. So that's interesting. It's taken 6 months of pushing content all the time, constantly on LinkedIn and YouTube to be able to start to build that funnel. Whoever says it's easy is lying to you. Not easy. A lot of effort, a lot of work, but it is starting to improve and become more of a channel and filter into the newsletter and all this sort of stuff. So that's exciting. Negatives. Moving on to the learnings. These AI SDRs out there are ruining the reputation of the industry, kind of like agencies that don't have a niche give everyone else a bad name. Similar thing here. Everyone tries them and then they get locked into a year contract and now they're annoyed because it doesn't work. We're being different on purpose where we're not doing year contracts. We're doing month to month, no lock-in, all that sort of stuff. But they are ruining the reputation in the name of it, which is annoying, but I don't think the industry's there from a product standpoint to be able to say this is a pure product play. It's still services to an extent. One of the learnings we had when we launched a new feature on the product is building your ICP through natural language. So one of the biggest struggles in the industry, and this is why I said qualified 50 times before about a meeting, is because the underlying data in ZoomInfo, Apollo, all this stuff is incorrect on a whole bunch of fields. So the industry tab is the best example where you might be a retail tech company, right? So you sell to retail, but you're a tech company. The industry from LinkedIn and therefore in Apollo and ZoomInfo is retail, but you're a tech company. So you're actually a technology, right? It's wrong. That's true across virtually all the industries. There's no uniformity in these databases, and it leads to building a list that's wrong and a whole bunch of unqualified, even marketing qualified, like contacts in your database that you don't want to reach out to. There comes Clay. Clay is great, hard to use. So when I was an SDR back in the day, I would literally go to every single website and cross-reference and make sure that that's our ICP before adding them to a list and outreach stuff. Clay does that now, within just a prompt. That's a good example of like checking industry and then reclassifying it so it's correct. Now, I don't want people to have to use Clay in my product or a similar thing to Clay or a shitty list building tool that we could build in a day, right? So I wanted them to describe their ICP through natural language. I think Apollo just recently released this feature, but again, I don't know how good it is or how accurate. Describe your ICP through natural language and then out pops your ICP in a list, right? With intent and all this sort of stuff. People can't do that to the best of their ability. So right now it's not a problem for us. We do all this onboarding stuff. We handhold the whole way. So like I'm getting feedback on this feature. This is a tough feature to solve for. People describe their ICP, but they make mistakes. So like 500 to 10,000 employees is your ICP, but you just put 500 plus because you don't think about the top bracket. How do you solve for that in a product? How do you get them to understand how to describe their ICP is the challenge. So working through that, we have the feature. Right now, I'm literally on the onboarding calls, so I can guide them through it. Difficult challenge to solve. I'm sure Apollo is facing the same thing. And then the final thing I'll say on the AI SDR market is messaging's not ready for AI. Like actual campaign message is not there. AI shouldn't be writing that. I think all the businesses that are chasing that, especially in startup world, maybe for established businesses, I'll take that back. Maybe for established businesses with, good website, good marketing material, lots of history, all this sort of stuff, maybe messaging's good for them. Startups where it's new, tackling an existing problem with a new direction, like that shouldn't be touched by AI right now. It can be drafted, but it should be finalized by a founder. We don't do any of that. And I don't want that in the product just yet. That's a conscious decision because I don't believe in it just yet. Things to come. If we do chat, if we're on a call, if you are potentially thinking about working with us, every customer will start on a free trial. Free trial until you book a qualified meeting. I don't really mind, like we only do GTM stuff. Even if you just wanted us to look at, database or do RevOps work or whatever, like we're still going to start in that way because that's the goal of every customer. So to begin working with us, there's no friction, there's no cost. We just book you a qualified meeting on your calendar. That's how you start. Then we talk about services, product, what that looks like, what requirements. Do you need us to reply? Do you want to reply? All this sort of stuff to messages. So that's new. That's how everyone starts. Even if you tell me you want to start with paid services, I'll probably push you down the trial anyway, unless you insist. And then the final thing from a headcount point of view, we will probably be advertising for a CSM role shortly in the new year. So I wanted to put that out there. If anyone knows a really good, solid customer success manager, that is my next hire. Someone with a mixture of like, obviously client services, customer relationship stuff, but also interesting to be somewhat technical N8N style skill set would be very, very interesting for me. So another episode, that's a long one, but that's what's been going on in the ScaleMate universe, and let's scale, mates.